September the 25th, 2023. Guys, a quick shout out to all of our friends up on the northeast coast, starting down in the Carolinas, really. But you had a lot of rain and a lot of flooding from Hurricane Ophelia. And even as it was downgraded and came ashore, I've been seeing in the last 2 days a lot of videos and images of flooding and damage. So it hit a little harder than a lot of people thought it would. But guys, that's the reason that we cover them until they come ashore like that. We try to pinpoint where you're going to be in trouble at, and then give you the heads up to get out of that area or make preparations for what's incoming. So again, hope all of you guys there are recovering good, and hope you got most of your power back on. According to the maps, USPowerOutages.com, you do have a tremendous amount of power coming back on. I don't think everyone's quite back up yet, but just hang in there, guys. It takes some time when these storms come through. Now, this is about power also, but on October 14th, 3 weeks from today, we're going to have a solar eclipse. Now, the last one was 2017, and Tina and I were on our way to see the grandkids in Phoenix, and we were in New Mexico, and we pulled over at a place we usually stop out when we go through there and take a break, and tried to get a few pictures of it. But the clouds came over, if you remember, if you were in New Mexico during this time. But if you come out of Roswell, which is where we stayed the night before, and you head west and you're going into the mountains, as if you're going to come out at Payson, Arizona, which we did, and you go through probably the most beautiful sections of New Mexico and Arizona in that part. But if you come out of Roswell, you start getting into the mountains, not very far out. There's a little house on the right of the highway in a curve, and it looks like it was built over 100 years ago, possibly. I'm not sure. There's not much history that I know about it. But it looks like it's in the gap in the mountains along that highway. It's probably like maybe 12 by 12, and it has a basement if you ever go in there and check it out. But it looks like it was part of where they had the cattle drives, and it was like an emergency winter shelter or storm shelter, something like that. Small house that's been there forever. And the last time I went, someone had put graffiti on this thing, and it was really disappointing and stupid. But it's beautiful rendition of the West as it was probably, like I said, 100 years ago. We stopped there. We're going to take some pictures. It just clouded up and we didn't get much. But what's happening is, again, on the 14th, this eclipse is going to be a little further south than that one. They're saying the California Independent System Operator is preparing for a reduction of over 9 gigawatts of renewable generation during the October 14th annular solar eclipse, as solar power generation accounts for the vast majority of supply during the middle of the day. The West, guys, has more solar panels probably than anywhere else in the U.S. And since the 2017 eclipse, a lot more have come online. Now, a lot of the California area is under a power company called CAISO, I think that's how you pronounce it. And the CEO, Elliot Manzer, said, "We've been trying to get ahead of this." He said, and it will be an interesting moment. Renewables account for 70% of supply during midday peak, with solar making up over 80% of renewable generation at its daily peak. The grid operator short-term forecasting team detailed the eclipse's impacts to the region in a recent technical bulletin that shows grid-scale renewable generations is expected to decline by 9.374 gigawatts, while at the same time gross load will increase by 2.37 gigawatts. These changes will lead to steeper ramping conditions on both the up ramp to the Eclipse Max and the down ramp following the eclipse's return. The ISO will coordinate with Reliability Coordinator West, utility distribution companies, and WEIM entities to ensure stable market operations to support reliable system operations on the eclipse day. And there's a map, guys, that will show this, and I'm going to bring it into the video in a moment. But they're saying the WEIM, which covers much of the West, will be affected by the eclipse from about 8 a.m. through 11 a.m. Pacific time. This is according to the CAISO Technical Bulletin. Each WEIM IM area will have varying times and magnitude of impact, with sun obscuration ranging from 65 to 90%. This is not going to be quite a total eclipse. It's going to be just a little smaller than the sun, so you're going to have that bright ring, which can blind you, by the way, so don't look at it without protection. It says the California Balancing Authority area will be affected from about 8:05 to 10:57 a.m. Pacific time, ranging from 89% sun obscuration in Northern California to 68% along the Southern California coast. CAISO will work with both interstate and intrastate gas suppliers to ensure availability during the eclipse, as well as with hydro and battery resources to assist with the large ramps. The Bonneville Power Administration expects to see some fluctuation in generation in loads here in the Pacific Northwest, but nothing that should impact reliability. We're staying in touch with our reliability coordinator and others across the Western Interconnection to coordinate and cooperate. And in Texas, ERCOT, which is the electric company there, it will rely upon its gas fleet to make up the difference as solar generation goes down during the eclipse. NV Energy did not reply to a request for comment. The Public Service Company of New Mexico declined to comment on the record. The U.S. experienced a total solar eclipse on August 21st, 2017. That's the one I mentioned. But solar capacity has grown significantly since then, making the effect of this year's eclipse stronger. This is going to be a more impactful event because the growth in solar capacity since 2017 has been pretty remarkable, Manzer said. KCO's grid scale and rooftop behind the meter solar have grown by 6.5 gigawatts and 8.55 gigawatts since 2017, respectively, while the WEIM footprint, grid scale, and rooftop solar have grown by 9.4 gigawatts and 5.7 gigawatts, respectively, according to the technical bulletin. Since then, CAISO has also started offering reliability coordination services to the bulk of balancing areas in the Western Interconnection as the RC West, and there are now 21 balancing areas that participate in this. CAISO said in the technical bulletin, with the West more interconnected now than ever, this CAISO is evaluating the effects of 2023 solar eclipse with a broader scope. Impacts will be felt across all of the utilities at various times and magnitudes within the WEIM and RC West, and entities can utilize these connections and relationships to maintain reliable operations, collaborate, and optimize resources through this eclipse. And here's the map. It's saying the annular solar eclipse to smother solar generations across the U.S. West. Now, this is from the same article. Solar generation has grown significantly since the 2017 eclipse. Now, if you look, the dark black line is the path right through here. It comes in into Oregon at 9:13 a.m. Pacific time. It will exit the U.S. into the Gulf of Mexico at 12:03 p.m. Central Time, like it is here. And this is the center of the path, and this line represents 75% obscuration from here to here on both sides. Notice that. So you got a wide area from Phoenix up into northern Denver, northeastern Denver here. The blue is the Western Energy Interbalance Market, what I was calling WEIM, all of this area. CAISO is the yellow area here, mostly California and parts of Nevada. And ERCOT, of course, is Texas. These circles indicate how much power these plants generate. The small circles are 100 megawatts. Middle circles, 500. The larger ones are 1,000 megawatts. And it looks like the largest one, guys, is down into Mexico itself, right here. Now, the full path of the eclipse, again, come across Oregon, out through Texas, and down through Central America and northern South America like this. That's what you're going to see. This will be the sunny side of the planet during that time. Now, this dotted line that comes across right through here is the path of the 2017 eclipse. Again, we were down into northern New Mexico here, and it looked like it was right above us. You could only see the glare through the clouds, but it became like twilight. It was amazing in those mountains to see that. And again, we were here, and the actual path was all the way up into Nebraska from where we were looking at it, and Wyoming. That's what we're seeing, but it appeared to be right over. So there's going to be a wide area that get to see some of the effects of it. But a warning again, use eye protection. Do not think for 1 minute that you can glance at this. You'll pay for it dearly, so don't do that. So it looks like October is going to be quite a month. Remember in a video a few back I was talking about all the student loans coming due, the minimum payments of $200 up to $500 plus hitting everybody at that time. So I think we're getting into very troublesome times, guys. The destruction of this nation is almost complete from within. But we're watching it, guys. We will win this battle, but there's a war to fight. It's a heads up. Be safe.